My name is Anita Favor Chinehe Wade, and my speech today is about Christmas, titled The Soul of Christmas. On the 25th of December every year, billions and trillions of people around the nations of the world gather to celebrate one single festival called Christmas. A uniformity of many hearts, regardless of disparities in belief. The birth of Christ, our core value for this celebration. A common union negotiating all men into an assembly. In the 4th century, church leaders around the nations of the world came together and chose December 25th as the birth of Christ. Key personalities that made the additions to this include Pope Julius of 337 AD, Severus Africanus Julius of the 3rd century, who proposed the calculation theory. We also have Hippolytus of Rome, born in 207 AD, and also John Chrysostom of the late century. They chose December 25th as Christmas Day. Why? To come in concordance with popular pagan festivals like Saturnalia and St. Invictus to aid newly converted pagans to Christian transition. So what is Christmas? Christmas is a service ceremony for the exaltation, proclamation, and celebration of the one man, Christ. The introduction of divinity into the soul, spirit, heart, and body of mankind for a radical Christianization. And also, it is not a celebration or a feast for our human financial greed and exploitation as we see it today. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we must understand this, that Christianity is about Christmas, and Christmas begins the love of Christ right on earth. In the quest and bountifulness of luxury, or in the presence of poverty, we must do carefully remember that Christmas is about the birth of Christ. It is not a time to celebrate ourselves. It is a time to celebrate Christ and not ourselves. Our taste and appetite is not the order of the day. It is a time to exalt and worship this King, and not a date for our taste and appetites. Now, you may ask, as you are celebrating the birth of Christ, Christmas, what do you have in your hearts and hands as gift to His name? Or do you expect it to be a season or a date where gifts are given to you and not to the one who owns the moment? And so, this is more like a paradigm fight between humanity and God's place. A fight between mortals and God's honorarium, which is a wrong narrative. Now, what do you have in your hands as gifts to Him? Because it is about Him, not about ourselves. John 15:14 tells us that we must present righteousness as obedience to His word, and bringing upon converted souls as gifts to His name, as a way to exalt Him and adore the moment. Christmas has a vision. What is the vision of Christmas? What is the vision for the birth of this man, Christ? The vision for Christmas is the global celebration and adoration of the man, Christ, for His honor and for a global initiation of all men to the Christian faith. Christianity becoming our universal identity. Now, that is the vision for Christmas. And also, the visions are also spelled in the word. The word itself, Christmas, has the vision for Christ in it. And I'm going to relate them all to you now. First one is C, conviction and celebration. Christmas time ought to be a time whereby we convince all men of who Christ is and celebrate His birth. H, holiness. We have to live in holiness and purity at these times, to worship and adore His name as a way to respect Him and not celebrate Him with a heart filled with impunity, which is wrong. R, revival. We have to revive our towns, our communities, our schools as a way to celebrate and adore the birth of Christ. Then we have I, institutionalization. We have to make up institutions. We have to build institutions like schools, town centers, hospitals, as a way to extend the love of Christ to all men, which is actually what Christ did in His own time, and not a time for us to extort one another. Then we also have the next one, which is S. And what does S stands for there? Speech and support. We have to speak up for the many marginalized in our communities, and also great support for the many helpless who might not have a means of financial freedom. We have to build them and also ensure that this season is a time for their absolute support. Then we have T, which is what televangelism and transmission. We have to publicize the debate of Christ on every platform, social media platforms, even television platforms, as a way to tell the whole world on who Christ is. Then we have M, make. We have to make new laws, new policies that will ensure that God's righteousness is being exalted above all things, and that Christ becomes the order of the day, the season upon which we all breathe and live. Then we have the next one, which is what A, availability. We have to make ourselves available at this time. As we celebrate, we have to make ourselves available, because He might Himself will relay instructions to our spirit that we can as well use for working and operating, which is very crucial if we must have a meaningful celebration. And S, service. While we feast and toast, we must also be very careful to offer what godly services to Him as a way to celebrate and respect this month dedicated to His name. And when we can piously, willingly, joyfully, and courageously be able to desire and act on the visions for Christ, His purpose for being born on earth, an honorarium, a justification for what? Our honorarium of Christ by the church and humanity, then we can faithfully, wisely, intuitively, and very much accurately be able to tell each other the bliss, Merry Christmas. So thank you, for this in fact is a soul of Christmas and not ourselves.